Set. Ready? May I have your attention, please?
Flashback to great moments with Flick. Memorable movies from the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yes, this is great. Hey, ooh la la.
It's a different Flick every night, uncut and commercial-free.
You're kidding, that's great.
This is an utterly incredible proposition.
It's unusual.
Get more movie choice with the Your Premium package, all at a great value.
Oh, yes. Indubitably, yes.
Relive the magic with Flick. Movies you grew up with.
Incredible.
Outstanding.
Charming.
Riveting. Ideal. Fantastic.
Call 1-800-204-8772 and get Flick when you order Showtime and the Movie Channel. Available as part of USSB Entertainment Plus. Call today.
Police in Columbus, Ohio, discover a 7-month-old child in a house filled with more than 100 animals. They removed the child and took the animals to the Humane Society. Local authorities are now investigating the couple's business license. They reportedly sell birds at an exposition center. One relative says conditions in the house are not that bad and that the police overreacted.
I got here, the baby was perfectly clean. It didn't look like it had been roaming around the house. I mean, it's 7 months old. If it had been roaming around the house, it had been... If there had been feces and stuff all over the place, then the baby wouldn't have been as clean as the baby was.
So far, no charges have been filed by the Columbus Health Department. In news making headlines across America, firefighters battle 2 major factory fires, fires 2 of our local stations captured on videotape. First, in Woburn, Massachusetts, a Bradco company plant burns out of control. All available firefighters have been called to the scene. So far, police report no injuries or deaths, and they have no clues so far on how that fire got started. And in California, the city of Brea is blanketed with smoke from a rubber factory fire. It's forced the evacuation of a nearby daycare center and 2 large apartment buildings. Officials say the greatest danger was from the smoke, not the flames. No injuries are reported there. In Ukraine, fires near the Chernobyl nuclear plant raised radiation levels. Flames swept 5 abandoned villages near the plant for more than 7 hours Tuesday. The higher radiation levels have been detected in the fire area. There were fears that smoke from the fire would spread radioactive waste from the 1986 Chernobyl disaster. It was 10 years ago this Friday that Chernobyl exploded in the world's worst commercial nuclear disaster. Officials in Fort Smith, Arkansas, say they did not receive adequate warning to turn on their sirens before a tornado hit. The twister devastated western Arkansas Sunday night. 4 people died. More than 800 homes were damaged. Now, officials are wondering if some of the storm's casualties could have been avoided by an early warning. President Clinton has declared parts of Arkansas and Illinois federal disaster areas that qualifies them for federal aid to help with the cleanup. In New York City Tuesday night, history under the hammer.
I think I'll just start the bidding at $5,000. We have $5,000.
Opening night bidding was fierce at a high-buck crowd angled for items from the estate of Jackie Kennedy Onassis. Prices at Sotheby's auction house were soaring far beyond pre-auction estimates. One expert predicting the 4-day sale could bring in more than $50 million. In Chicago Tuesday night, a highly select group of bidders had a long-distance shot at the Jackie estate. Nadine Arroyo of our local station, Chicagoland TV, has the big-ticket details.
They are not just priceless items, but historical pieces from one of America's most famous families. They are all from the New York home of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, all to be sold at auction. Sotheby's in New York is organizing the 2-day event, but it's an exclusive privilege in Chicago where only 115 people are invited to bid.
I think this is the largest thing of its kind that has ever happened.
Caroline and John Kennedy included thousands of their mother's items in the auction, a request made by Kennedy Onassis in her will. Some of the items date back to the White House and collections made throughout the years.
People are buying a piece of a woman who was the most admired woman in the world for many years, a woman who kept her own counsel, who was private, who was beautiful, who was tasteful.
Most are items of art, furniture, jewelry, antiques, and books. One of the most valuable pieces is the 40-carat engagement ring she received from Aristotle Onassis, valued at more than $500,000. And there is the mahogany desk on which the nuclear test ban treaty was signed by President Kennedy in 1963. It's valued at more than $20,000.
It's trite to say that people are buying a piece of Camelot, but there's a reason things are trite also. They're trite because they're probably true and probably fitting.
And for many collectors, a chance to buy a piece of Camelot is too good to pass up. Nadine Arroyo, CLTV News.
It is time for a break. Up next to look at the weather forecast. Please stay with us.
Be my love, for no one else matters.
Heartland Music presents Placido Domingo. Now, Placido sings 24 classic love songs. Two beautiful albums.
Why begin to tell the story of how great
You'll love Placido's new collection.
my love
But it's not in stores. So order now.
Call 1-800-835-1110. Use your credit card or send check or money order for $14.98 for cassettes or $19.98 for 2 CDs, plus $3.50 shipping to Placido Domingo, P.O. Box 5055, Department 20, New York, New York.
You into sports? I mean really into sports? Great, me too. The Big Four. You know, football, baseball, basketball, and hockey. If you're like me, you need more than the score. You need to know what's coming. Penetrating analysis of teams and players. The inside story on strategies and trade rumors. Who's hot and who's not. And why. From people out there where it's happening. Like me, week after week. And I'll even give you a great beer. We've been called the Bible of sports for over 100 years. We deliver the inside scoop on every team, on every franchise. So no matter where you live, the sporting news keeps you close to your favorite team, pro or college. Okay, here's the deal. Call the 1-800 number and tell them the Fly sent you.
I'm meteorologist Dave Dahl. Here's your look at the nation's weather. Believe it or not, parts of the upper Midwest are still dealing with snow melt. And so much water around the eastern portions of North Dakota near Kindred, they're getting some flooding along the Cheyenne River that flows into the Red River, and still too much water around. More moisture in the form of rainfall could add to their troubles there. Showers and thunder showers rolling across the northern Rockies look like they'll spread right across the northern plain states again on Wednesday. Very warm temperatures stretching all the way up into southern Canada, 60s and 70s in the upper Midwest, 80s down the southern plain states, and a few 90s showing up in the desert. And over the century mark, Phoenix should top out at 102 Wednesday afternoon, 83 in Denver. Then the cool front, showers and storms breaking out throughout the upper Midwest. Lots of sun through the middle part of the U.S., 88 in Dallas, 67 in Chicago, Atlanta topping out at 73. That's a look at the nation's weather. Here's a look at a few other cities around the U.S.
In consumer news, it looks like more changes are in store at the post office. Last month, the post office said it was dropping third-class mail, and now special deliveries could be on the chopping block. Reports say the Postal Service could drop the deliveries as early as next month. The reason? Express and priority mail are getting more popular, taking business away from special delivery. The post office made just 300,000 special deliveries last year. A run of bad weather across the South has people worried about protecting their homes. All News Channel's Lisa Gephardt has some tips on how to protect your home from storm damage.
Your home, nature's worst, can tear it apart in seconds. But knowing what to look for when you buy a home can help protect you. Builder Chris Peterson says make sure concrete walls are reinforced.
That is where an actual piece of steel that ties the steel on the top comes down in between these pieces of block and ties into the foundation.
Also ask if the roof is securely attached to the side walls. These metal braces can keep the wind from ripping the roof off. Extra wood bracing and metal straps inside add strength to roofs and prevent the gables from being blown in.
Go up with some 2x4s and brace them with the proper nails and the proper size boards, and you can get that advice from a Scotty's or a Home Depot.
Here are some other tips if you're building or if you just want to protect the home you already have. Remove dead and weak trees that could fall on your house. Also, have trees near power lines cut back. Hire an engineer to inspect your house and offer additional suggestions. No home can be totally weatherproof, but with a little work, you can protect against nature's worst. I'm Lisa Gephardt, All News Channel.
Those storms in the South and a stormy winter across the country mean Americans have a bigger mess than usual to clean up this spring. But experts say many people will waste time and money working in their yard. All those leaves, twigs, and branches you might throw away can be turned into gardening gold.
Most Americans, even though they're no longer allowed to throw their yard waste away at the curb for free, still bag the stuff up. Now they have to pay for the bags. Now they have to pay to have it hauled away. And then they go to the garden center and buy something that does the same job that they could have used that for and is often inferior.
Leaves can be composted to make dirt that is better than fertilizer. Branches can be chipped. A layer of chips can fight erosion, smother weeds, and help keep soil moist. And that is a look at consumer news. The sports report is coming up next, but first a quick look at the financial markets.
Now it's time to take a 2-minute pause. Let's bring on the latest employment opportunities around the Twin City area. From your friends, of course, at the Minnesota Department of Economic Security. This a free job service courtesy of the state of Minnesota. If you would like further information, the number right here on the screen, 296-8400, the one to call between 8 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. Check out one of the following positions or other jobs they've listed. Tell them about your employment situation. They want to hear from you. Let's get you back to work if, in fact, you're looking for employment. Good service, and it's free. Wanted a electronics technician in the Twin Cities, full-time at $8 an hour. Civil engineer wanted, Minneapolis, full-time. They're paying $19.25 an hour. Accountant wanted, a budget analyst-type person wanted. Twin City area, full-time, $15.25 an hour is the pay. Restaurant manager wanted, Bloomington, full-time at $14 an hour. Rental marketing specialist wanted, St. Paul, full-time. They're paying $11.66 an hour. Here's a job for an NRP coordinator, Minneapolis, full-time at $8 an hour. Planner wanted, North St. Paul, full-time at $16 an hour. Manager trainee, Woodbury, full-time at $7 an hour. Here's a job for a jail program coordinator, in Anoka, full-time. They're paying $13.50 an hour. HRA programs manager wanted, St. Paul, full-time work, paying $22 an hour. Child support specialist wanted in the metro area, full-time at $11.75 an hour, as is a legal administrative assistant. Full-time work paying $11.75 an hour. Recording secretary wanted, full-time, Anoka, $8.50 an hour there. Security dispatcher, South Minneapolis, full-time work at $9.50 an hour. Word processing specialist in Shakopee, full-time at $8.84 an hour. And here's a job for a market research a person in Bloomington full-time at $7 an hour. Give him a call, and I wish you good luck.
Wally Langfellow with the Sporting Report. Tell us about the hockey wars.
Well, the Rangers are back in it. Looked like they were out of it early, but they won a couple in a row now, so they are right back even again. After 2 games in New York and 2 Montreal wins, things look pretty bleak for the New York Rangers. Now, after 2 games in Montreal, things don't look quite as bad anymore. Game 4, Tuesday night in Montreal. Second period, New York up 2-1. Adam Graves chokes and scores. It's 3-1. Later in the second, Graves again. Big rebound made it 4-1. Graves with a pair of goals on the night. Rangers have to hang on in this one, though. Final score 4-3. The series is now even at 2 apiece. Elsewhere in the East, Philadelphia over Tampa 4-1. That one is now even at 2 apiece as well. In the Western Conference, Game 4 for the Blues and the Maple Leafs at the Kiel Center. First period, Shane Corson from Wayne Gretzky. Corson tips it in. A shorthanded goal made it 1-0 in favor of the Blues. St. Louis wins it as we check it out the final 5-1. John Casey came within 2 minutes and 28 seconds of picking up the shutout for St. Louis. Elsewhere, Detroit over Winnipeg 6-1. The Wings now lead that series 3-1. And it's Chicago and Calgary. Well, the axe continues to fall in the NBA. One day after New Jersey and Toronto lower the boom on their head coaches, the Charlotte Hornets do the same by sending Alan Bristow packing. The Hornets and Bristow announced a mutually agreed-upon departure. In 5 years as the Hornets head coach, he led the team to 2 playoff appearances. This year, however, the Hornets finished at 41-41 and out of the playoffs. Baseball now, the brief 2-game matchup between 2 of the elites in the American League concluded Tuesday night at Jacobs Field, with the Indians playing host to the Baltimore Orioles. 4th inning, down 3-1. The Indians are no longer down 3-1. Manny Ramirez with the 3-run shot here to right center field. It is now 4-3 in favor of the Indians. Later on, Indians up 6-4. Albert says, I can see that 3-run homer and match it. This one's to center field. Albert Bell makes it 9-4 Indians. Side hangs on for the 9-8 win. They have now won 11 of their last 12. In the National League, Dodgers and the Braves. First inning, Freddie McGriff rips one down the right field line. It gave the Braves a 2-0 lead, but Mike Piazza wins it with a home run in the 8th inning. Piazza with a 3-run shot for the Dodgers. Dodgers win 3-2 as we check all the bases. That is sports. I'm Wally Langfellow. Stand back in a flash with more news.
Foster Brooks, the man who left Johnny Carson speechless.
Reason for being loaded tonight. I've been drinking all day.
America's lovable, tipsy, funny man.
The doctor was giving me my physical a checkup.
Don't laugh, you're next. A 1995 value.
My wife is from Buffalo, just outside of Rock.
Great family entertainment.
I had one brother-in-law went ice fishing one day, brought him 200 pounds of ice. His wife fried it, and they both drowned.
Plus,
I bought my wife a cemetery plot last year. She didn't use it, so I'm not going to give her anything.
now, as a special TV offer, you can have both videos, Don't Laugh, You're Next, plus Foster Goes Country, a $39.90 value for only $19.95.
If you have kids around the house, chances are good they have seen the movie Toy Story. Now, that story is going home, to home computers, that is. All News Channel's David G. takes a look at the Toy Story 3D ROM.
Reading lines off a script, and the director's there telling you you're happier, sadder, or louder, softer. So it's not that different at all. It's what they do with the recording of your voice is different.
And now Ratzenberger has put the recording of his voice to the new CD-ROM interactive home computer version of Toy Story. It still features Woody and Buzz and all the great characters from the theatrical version, but this one is narrated by Ratzenberger's character, Ham the Storyteller. I asked him if he'd take us for a test drive.
Sure. Watch this. Buzz, I guess, is missed at Woody. So he obviously fills him up with air. And that's what I do when I'm mad at people, especially at gas stations. And here he comes in for a nice two-point landing. Ready to go again.
Ready to go. The new Toy Story, as close as your computer. Sure. I'm David G., All News Channel.
Finally, music sensations Hootie and the Blowfish are out with their second album. But if you like your music to have a little more history, let's talk about Elvis. 40 years ago, Tuesday, April 23rd, 1956, Elvis Presley made his Las Vegas debut, but he was hardly the king there. Presley's engagement was canceled after a week because of poor ticket sales, and he did not return to Vegas for 13 years. Still, he had a good year. His Heartbreak Hotel was also released in 1956, and the song went to #1. And that same year, he sold more than 12 million records. That's our report for this half hour. I'm Stan Turner. Thank you for watching All News Channel.
When you walk up to your car and get in, you probably don't think much about safety. And there's really no need to give a single thought to all that the manufacturers have done. Things like brighter lights, side door beams, airbags, and anti-lock brakes. But you should think about the one thing you can do. Please, fasten your seatbelt. A message from your Greater Metropolitan Automobile dealers.
Open my insurance bill. Couldn't believe what I saw. The 5-big screen TV was what I'm paying for my car. My mama told me, better shop around. But mama, there's 30 pages of insurance in this town. Said call Auto Insurance Shopper. It's the one to use. It's free. It's easy. Stop saying the blues.
Call Auto Insurance Shopper today. 545-2727.
News Channel knows the health of you and your family is important. That's why at 15 and 45 minutes past the hour, All News Channel reports health and medical news. Information you and your family can use to better your lives, like new treatments for long-term ailments or different ways to exercise. Or see stories on how other Americans are treating and living with the same conditions as you. News for your family's health on All News Channel. For complete coverage of our nation's weather, watch All News Channel. At 14 and 44 minutes past every hour, All News Channel reports weather conditions across America, as well as temperatures and forecasts for your region. But our coverage doesn't stop there. When severe weather strikes, All News Channel is in the right place at the right time, bringing you complete coverage, from devastation to cleanup. Your weather on All News Channel.
Everyday sounds that can damage your hearing. Thursday at 10.
Reaction to the verdict in the Bernard Goetz civil trial.
I think I'll just start the bidding at $5,000. We have $5,000.
And fierce bidding at Sotheby's to own a piece of history. Hello, everyone. I'm Stan Turner. We'll get to those stories in just a moment. But first, a month-old baby is on life support after being beaten by 3 young boys. Police in California say the boys, 2 8-year-olds and a 6-year-old, have been charged with attempted murder. Authorities say they broke into a Richmond, California home Monday night while an 18-year-old stepsister was in another room. They allegedly tipped over the baby's bassinet, then kicked, punched, and possibly used a stick to beat the child. The infant suffered severe head injuries and, as we say, is now on life support. New York subway gunman Bernard Goetz has been ordered to pay $43 million to one of the 4 men he shot in 1984. The gunshot wound left Daryl Gaby paralyzed and brain damaged. But as All News Channel's David Johnston reports, the chances are slim that Gaby will collect the full amount.
The Bronx jury of 4 blacks and 2 Hispanics deliberated for 4.5 hours. They ruled Bernard Goetz had acted without justification in shooting Daryl Gaby. The white subway gunman, who was portrayed as a murderous racist during the trial, must now pay KB $43 million. The 30-year-old KB is paralyzed and brain damaged as a result of the shooting. After the verdict, Getz' attorney admits his client's blunt testimony didn't help his case.
Bernie has always been his own worst enemy with respect to the truth. I mean, the fact is that Bernie has never been a person that was particularly concerned about the nuances of what he was saying. Bernie has always been direct, and if it hurt him, it hurt him.
But KB's attorney says the large monetary award sends the right message.
Sends a real clear message to all the bigots out there, all the racists with guns, all the people that consider the lives of young black men to be worthless. Those lives are worth a lot. Those lives are worth a lot, so you better keep those guns in the holster.
Getz shot KB and 3 other unarmed young men back in December of 1984. He later said the 4 were about to rob him. The young men said they were only panhandling when they asked him for $5. But the chances of KB ever collecting the full $43 million are slight. Getz' legal bills have left the 48-year-old self-employed electronics expert with little money, but KB's attorney says he'll try and get as much as possible from Getz.
I think Daryl KB can get from Bernard Getz everything Bernard Getz has. And so if Bernard Getz wins the lottery, Daryl KB wins the lottery.
Neither KB nor Getz was in the courtroom for the verdict. Getz left without commenting to the media and reportedly took the subway home. Getz' lawyer said he wouldn't appeal the decision. I'm David Johnston, All News Channel.
Getz has scheduled a news conference for Wednesday to discuss the verdict and his plans. On today's comment line, we'd like to know what you think about the